Welcome to Mrs. Bays' 6th grade math video lesson. This is the second video in the series on ratios. Let's begin by reviewing. A ratio is a comparison of two things. There are three different types of symbols that we use. One is the word to, T-O. Then we can use the colon or the fraction bar. So this is the word, colon, and the fraction bar. You will see the word equivalent, and I just need you to know that that's a fancy word for equal. Let's look at some examples. First, we're supposed to look at writing equivalent ratios. Well, in the first video in this series, all we really need to do is either count or some simple addition. But in this lesson, we're either going to do a little bit of multiplying or dividing. So let's look at the first one. Notice we have 1 to 2 and 8 to something. So we can do this a couple ways. We could say, what do I do to 1 to get a 2? Well, I can times by 2. So then I take 8 and do the same thing. 8 times 2 is 16. Or I can do 1. What do I do to 1 to get to 8? Well, 1 times 8. So then I have to do the same thing to 2. 2 times 8 is 16. Either way, you get the same answer. All right, let's look at the next one. This is set up as two fractions, and later we will go into more detail. This is really a proportion. All right, so let's look at this one. What do I do to 3 to get 9? Well, that would be multiply by 3 to get 9. So that means I'm going to take 2 and do the same thing, which is times by 3. And 2 times 3 is 6. 4 to 5, and then what to 10? Okay, let's go with 4, 5, and 10. What do I do to 5 to get to 10? Well, I times by 2. So I need to do the same thing to the 4. Times by 2. So what's 4 times 2? 8. Now let's look at some equivalent ratios, and all we have to do is say yes or no. Are they equivalent or equal, or are they not? So let's look at number 4. We have 5/8 and 10/16. What do I do to a 5 to get a 10? Well, that's times by 2. That means I have to do the same thing to 8. 8 times 2. Well, 8 times 2 is 16. So this one is a yes, they are equivalent, because I was able to multiply by 2 to get this second fraction. All right, let's look at this number 5. This is 3/4 to 16/20. 3 to 16. What do I do to 3 to 16? All right, let's move on. How about 4? What do I do to 4 to get to 20? Oh, well, 4 times 5 is 20. So that means I have to do the same thing to the 3. 3 times 5 is 15. Wait a minute, that's not 15. So this is a no. They are not equivalent. Okay, let's look at number 6. 1 to 6 and 2 to 12. So 1, what do I do to 1 to get to a 2? I could times by 2. So 6 times 2, I have to do the same thing to the 6 that I did to the 1. 6 times 2 is 12. Yep, that works. That's a yes. 5 to 6 and 9 to 12. What do I do to 5 to get a 9? How about, what do I do to 6 to get to 12? Oh, times by 2. So 6 times 2 is 12. I have to do the same thing to the 5. So 5 times 2 is 10. Is that a 10? No, it's not. So that's a no. They are not equivalent. 10 to 12 and 2 to 6. Now, what do I do to 10 to get a 2? I divided by 5. So 10 divided by 5 is 2. Could I also say 2 times 5 is 10? Yes. Now let's do 12. 12 divided by 5. 12 divided by 5 is 6. Okay, could I do 6 times 5 to get 12? No. And last one, 7 to 8 and 21 to 24. What do I do to 7 to get a 21? How about times by 3? 7 times 3 is 21. That means I have to do the same thing to the 8. 8 times 3. Well, 8 times 3 is 24. 7 times 3 is 21. 8 times 3 is 24. That's a yes. They are equivalent. Now let's look at how to complete a ratio table. And I have 2 tables for us to look at. So here we go. We have 7, 14, we have to fill in 28, 35, 4, fill in 12, 16, and fill in. So let's begin. What do I do to 7 to get 14? Well, from here to here, we multiplied by 2. That means I have to do the same thing to the 4. I have to multiply by 2. So 4 times 2 is 8. Now I have to figure out what am I going to do here. So now I look at the 4. 4, let me change colors here. That might help us see it a little better. What do I do to 4 to get a 12? Times by 3? Well, that means I have to do the same thing over here. 7 times 3 is 21. And look, the next one's already done for us. This would be 7 times 4 is 28. So 4 times 4 is 16. We didn't have to fill anything in there. All right, let's do this one. 7 times what is 35? Is that 7 times 5 is 35? That means I have to do the same thing here. Times by 5. 4 times 5 is 20. So that table is now completed. Let's look at the second table. We're starting with 2. 2, fill in 8, fill in 14. 3, 9, fill in 15, fill in. Here we go. What do I do to 2 to get to this? I don't know yet. So let's go over here. 3 to 9. What do I do to 3 to get 9? Times by 3. 3 times 3 is 9. So I'm going to do the same thing here. 2 times 3 is 6. Let's look at the next one. 2 to 8. What do I do to 2 to get 8? Well, that would be times by 4. 2 times 4 is 8. Do the same thing here. 3 times 4. See, we times by 4 on this one, so 3 times 4 is 12. Next one, 2 times what is this? Well, let's look over here. 3 times what is 15? Times by 5. 3 times 5 is 15, so do the same thing here. 2 times 5. Well, 2 times 5 is 10. And the last one. What do I do to 2 to get 14? 2 times 7. 2 times 7 is 14. Do the same thing here. 3 times 7. 3 times 7 is 21. So now that table is completed. Notice I just used different colors to try to help you see what you do from one number to the next to get the answer to fill in the ratio table. Now I want you to practice. Please go to IXL 6th grade, R.5, identify equivalent ratios. Do IXL 6th grade, R.6, write equivalent ratios. And last, IXL 6th grade again, R.7, ratio tables. Please work to get to at least 80%, which is full credit. And if you work a little more, you can get 100 and get a bonus point. Thanks so much.